Hi, I'm Leonard Scott Collins, and I'm an out-of-work actor, so I'm going to try to make money doing yoga on the internet. Today, this program has been brought to you by Hot Coffee and by Get on Your Feet and Let's Exercise. We're going to start off today with a couple of forward folds. I'm going to want you to lean against a wall like this, bend your knees, press your feet together, and just fall down. And we're going to stay here for 60 big breaths. Now for the last 10 breaths, just try to straighten your knees a little bit more and allow yourself to come a little deeper into the pose. Cool. Let's come down to our mat. Come into a pike position with our feet straight out in front of us. Drop your hands behind your hips. Just counteract that back bend by pulling the chest up towards the ceiling.
see what happens if you just allow yourself to fall forward over the knees. This is again the same stretch, but now we're keeping our knees nice and straight. We'll stay here for 10 breaths.
Counteract that back bend again, this time with our cobra pose. It feels good to feel good. 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 Feeling good feels good. Press through the hands.
And come back into this sort of bum up thing that I don't know what it's called.
I'm sorry guys, I forgot to turn off my air conditioner. This is enthusiasm, this is exercise. So, come up to your plank position only to gauge your distance for a down dog. Press up through the hands and spend a few breaths here.
Straighten the knees, let the heels gently sink down towards the floor. The shoulders come up the back. The chest also gradually works its way down towards the floor. Now, what we're going to do is pop the right hand in towards the center of your mat, the right leg forward to where your right hand was. Keep the back leg straight and the front leg, you want that knee right over the ankle. We are doing a fairly deep lunge pose here, and we'll stay here for 10 breaths. Back into your downward dog. Feel the difference between your left and right leg. 3 breaths here. Now move the left hand in, pull the left leg forward, and again we'll stay here for 10 breaths. Come back into your downward dog. Press through the hands. Straighten the knees. And again, let the chest start to drift gently down towards the floor. So, I'm going to come out on a bit of an angle, just so you can see this same stretch from a slightly different direction. Okay, so now I'm going to come up into my plank pose again, press through the hands, 3 breaths here in my down dog. Now I'm going to come forward with the right leg and see how tight that foreknee is into my body. And if I feel good here, I'm going to start working my elbows down towards the floor. Keep the back leg straight. So that's 5 breaths there. Come back up into my down dog. Left leg forward. And now if I feel good there, I'm going to come down onto my elbows. Again, see how close the knee is to the body. I can probably even do better than that. All right. Come back up into the down dog and settle into a seated position on your mat. Now eventually, if you spend some time in that pose, let me have a couple more sips of the hot coffee. Man, I love that hot coffee. Can't get enough hot coffee. You guys ever drink hot coffee at home? If not, I recommend it. It's actually terrific. Underconsumed beverage in our culture, I think. I don't think enough Americans drink hot coffee. So when you're in that long plank pose, you do want to be working towards getting your back long and straight. Let me show you one more time. So here's my plank pose, back knee straight, and now I want to try to start working towards getting my back nice and straight too. But just in case you aren't there yet and you were feeling a bit of a forward bend in the back, let's work it out by spending a moment in our cow pose. Great. Now, I'm resting against the pillar. Keep my hips square, my back nice and straight, my neck forward. Because I find I am tending to round my back when I do this. But here I'm starting in a nice easy pose. In this case, my right leg's over my left. And I just want to lift my right leg, pull the knife of my foot into the crook of my elbow, lace the fingers together, rock back and forth, try to release that hip. See how see the rounding in my spine? By putting my back up against the wall, I see how much I'm coming forward. It's like 4 or 5 inches. I'm coming forward an awful lot. So you want to try to work that spine straight, and because your upper arm's only so long, as you try to straighten the spine, you're going to be pulling your elevated leg a little deeper into the stretch. Now let's come to the easy pose on the opposite side. Again, press the head back against the wall. Relax here for a breath or two. And I put my coffee back on the table. I wish I had that hot coffee right here. And when you start drinking health coffee, it should be called health coffee. When you start drinking hot coffee and you realize all the health benefits, you're going to want to just have a hot coffee in your hand all the time. That's what my weekend's been like, man. I've just had hot coffee in my hand pretty much all weekend. It's been terrific.
I strongly recommend spending a lot of time with hot coffee next weekend. See the difference between what you're like without hot coffee and what you're with when you start having some hot coffee, man. You'll feel the difference. The health benefits are, I'm not a scientist, but definitely uncountable, you know? And you can do this pose, you know, with legs forward, or those are the only two choices. You can do this pose with your leg bent, or your leg forward, or you can do something like this pose lying on your back like this. Come rest on your back like this, shoulders on the floor. This does the same thing as having your back against the wall. Helps you measure the shape of that. Just rest one ankle on the opposite knee, the same way you're doing when you're sitting down in a movie theater or on the bus. And then raise the legs and lace the fingers around the front of the straight knee. That will hold the open leg in position. And the more you relax here, the more you're going to find your knee wants to press out to the side, which will give you this good opening here, right at the top of the hamstring. Your head is resting on the floor. Your spine is straight, resting, pressed into the floor. This should be fairly comfortable. I remember the first few times I did this, it just ignited my passive leg. This whole area just exploded. And this is one where you can feel the benefit of spending a really long time in the pose. You're going to notice big changes to the way your muscles react after 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But we won't stay there that long today. We've already done our nice long forward fold, so we should be prepped to get benefit from this fairly quickly. Switch the knees, pull that leg back, and again just rest your spine long along the floor. Long along the floor, long along, long along, long along, long along, long along. My tongue feels really neat when I say that. Just rest back long along the floor. Exercise, exercise, hot coffee, exercise. Pull yourself together. And again, the same way we do that, the same way this pose here is a sort of a this pose here is sort of a modification of our cradle baby or whatever you want to call it. I don't care. You make up your own names for these poses. It's fun. Just journal them so that you remember what you're doing. The same way we can make up our own names for poses, we can lie down and do our lunge pose. And now in this case what I'm doing is I'm putting my arm on the inside of my leg and wrapping my hand outside to the knife of my foot and sort of trying to get the foot straightened that way. So this means my foot is coming out of the hip socket, a little off to the side further than it would be in that lunging pose. Don't want it too far off to the side. Want to keep that knee tucked in pretty close to the body, but you know, it's just a very subtly different kind of stretch for the active leg. Meanwhile, the opposite leg, just like in your lunge pose, you're going to try to work that knee straight, stretch that leg long. And so the priority here, instead of working with the legs as a support, our priority here is to work with our body as a support and just activate the leg so that we're thinking about spine long, head back, and then off leg long and hopefully kind of resting into the floor. Now let's do our yoga toe lock. 2 fingers around the big toe, and we can press. Press as we've done before. Press, press, press. Try to get that leg long out in front of us. Rest it on the floor. Take a minute here. If you have a nice hot cup of coffee, now might be a time to go and have a quick sip of your hot coffee. And you can lie straight back down, grab that big toe again and press up one more time. Try to get both your knees straight. Don't worry about what your hip is doing. In this position, all we need to worry about is having both our knees nice and straight. All right, I'm going to change the angle slightly. Let me have some hot coffee. All right, my camera battery's almost dead, so let's do this really fast. I'm going to give it a slightly different angle so you can see maybe a bit more what's going on with his hip. Come back this way maybe. That seems about right. Okay, so both legs long. And again, what we want to do is just put the elbow inside the pit of the same knee, and then relax the leg back. Keep the off leg stretched long out in front of you, and try to work the active leg up into 90 degrees into that lunging pose. See how my off leg is sort of floating a little bit over the floor? It's not super great, so I'm working on, my intention is straightening the leg, pressing forward, working all that tension out of the forward leg. I'm alternating being active and relaxing, trying to keep the leg in the position that I want it in, but also see about deepening the stretch by doing some relaxation. Now, do our yoga toe lock. Press the leg long, press both legs long, see if you can straighten both those legs. Now, keeping the leg bent, rest everything down on the ground. Just feel what that feels like there. Now, engaging one more yoga toe lock. Press this long again. Man, it feels good to feel good.
Now, just for fun, we may not be able to do this. Come into a wide angle pose with the knees slightly bent. And use that same grasp. Elbow under the knee, palm around the knife. On the other side again, elbow around the knee, palm around the knife. And rest your head forward. And feel what happens to your hamstrings, your sciatic nerves, your Achilles tendon. I'm not actually clear on whether or not those three things are actually all the same thing. Maybe that's just three names for one thing. But the muscles of your outer groin, the tops of the thighs and the buttock is what I mean, and that long, long tendon that goes all the way down into your foot from kind of the back of the ball socket there of the hip. Feel what happens in those areas as your knees, as your legs start to relax. Your legs are supported here by the insides of your wrists, so there should be much less fear. Which means those muscles are going to let themselves relax into the support. You may feel some very strange things. I feel kind of like a guitar string vibration from time to time in the top of my left thigh as I'm sitting here talking to you. Then allow the neck to relax. And just by bending the elbows gently, you can pull your upper body a little deeper into this stretch. And as we work forward here, you might find we end up with our knees just above our shoulders. See about lengthening the spine. There's another variation of this. Relax to come forward. Couple of breaths there. Inhale to come long. Alternate relaxing and lengthening. Let me show you what this looks like from the front. I'll try to keep those legs in the same position. Kind of making a pentagon with my body here. That feels pretty good. All right, I'm limber, you're limber, we're both limber, everything's fantastic. I'm gonna stop the video now, gonna have some more hot coffee. I'm gonna take a nice long bath. Man, what a great day. You're beautiful, I'm more beautiful than you, but man, are you getting there. I'm so proud of you guys. Just thanks for being around.